Okay, this is People of the State of Michigan versus Dustin Stone, docket numbers 20-389FH and 20-390FH. And this is the time set for sentencing. Mr. Stone, would you just confirm for me that you are in agreement with doing the sentencing remotely instead of bringing you here to the courthouse?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Stone, on this one file, you were convicted of larceny in a building, a felony punishable by up to 4 years in prison, illegal possession of a financial transaction device, a felony punishable by up to 4 years in prison, and larceny under $200, a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail. And on the other file, you're being sentenced on a third-degree home invasion, a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. And you do have the right to be represented by an attorney. You are represented by Mr. White, who is present. And Mr. White, have you had a chance to go through the pre-sentence report with your client?
I have, Your Honor. We went through it together. He was on Securus, but we went through it.
Good. Do you have any additions, deletions, or corrections?
No, I do not.
And how about objections to the scoring of the guidelines? Do you have any?
Please, they're correct as well.
All right. Did the people have any corrections to the report or objections to scoring?
I actually was muted. I'm sorry. I know, I'm sorry. And we have no corrections. And I wanted to commend Mr. Gleason because he put together, I think, a very thorough report with all the different cases we had, the restitution. And I had contacted all the victims before, but he followed up with everybody. So I didn't see anything that was missing. And I appreciate that. So we have no corrections.
Yes, I do too. It was a very thorough report. Then if there's no more corrections or any corrections, was there a victim who wished to be heard, Ms. Allen?
Your Honor, Ms. Pentecost is the victim on the home invasion conviction, and I have a statement to read on her behalf.
Okay, then we can go right to that.
Okay, and it is the same statement she submitted as her victim impact statement, but she still wanted me to read it for the court.
Of course.
And she says, first, I'm furious with this person's actions, the ramifications, the anxiety, emotional stress. I'm still getting anger thoughts and very anxious. He invaded my space. I live alone, sitting in my living room, and he walked out the door with my fur coat, fur-lined gloves, a Coach checkbook cover, and these were my husband's, who has since passed. I want these items returned or tell me where they are. The bank stress of getting accounts back on track for vendors with automatic withdrawal has also been very difficult, and I'm still dealing with it. I am losing patience and it's very stressful. I'm on Social Security in a very limited budget. The scenario has put me in a very, very tenuous financial position, bank overdrafts, frustrations, and there we go again. As to sentencing, in view of his other infractions, I believe he should be given jail time long enough to get his attention and long enough to think about this, turn his life around and come out the other end with goals, address his drug addiction, finally get an education, hopefully a degree. He is not done. And Judge, this is what the conversation we've had all along, Ms. Pentecost and I, she's been very active with this case, is that she believes he is smart and that this defendant needs something rigid. She never wanted adult prison for him, but she wants him to get an education, rehabilitation, and be an adult in society. And Judge, we all do. I was the prosecutor on his case before when we first gave him the Holmes Youthful Trainee Act to try and give him that benefit. And I think there's, he's going to probably lose that. And now here we are with jail time and more probation. And the very next step very well could be prison. Maybe this is it. And this will be the point where Mr. Stone can turn around. And I really hope so. And the victims do in this case too. I would like to we're trying to give him a chance to get his life together. And I hope that this is it for him. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. White.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm pretty much in agreement with Ms. Allen, and I have dealt here with Mr. Stone. I've dealt with his family and his father, and he seemed genuinely sincere. And I will say this, in dealing with him in the past, this time he seemed more sincere. Now I recognize he's in jail, and it's a darn good idea to sound sincere when you're in jail and don't like being there. But at the same time, as you have, I've been around a little bit, and I think there is hope for him. It's all up to him. It doesn't matter really what I say here. It's up to him. He's got a tremendous opportunity here that we have an agreement where, he's not going to go to adult prison because there's plenty here to do that. And I appreciate that, at least so far, the court's not said, no, I'm not going to follow that agreement. He has to follow through with the MRT. He has to follow through with PATS. He has to grow up. He's just taken this as not serious enough. And I think he's been here locked up for a little extended period of time. And I suspect you're not letting him go right away. And he that wake-up call really needs to stick this time. I guess I'll end up just repeating myself. This is his crossroads right here. He's going to pull through or he's not. I think this time he recognizes he can no longer say, well, I'm a kid, or I was involved with my brother, or, hide behind all kinds of excuses. Hopefully he gets that clarity because he does have enough talent. I mean, I know his dad, and I've helped him and his family out. His dad's never had a problem with the law. I'm sure his dad is not happy that, he's going through these things. And I know his dad is very hopeful that, he won't have to call me up ever again, except to say, Dustin's doing really well.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stone, is there anything you wanted to say?
No.
Okay, well, again, I have someone in front of me young, but old enough to know, and you are an adult, and I'm telling you, I read this very thorough report, and the behavior that you engaged in while on probation, it was horrifying. I mean, to call you a one-man crime spree, stealing from people with reckless abandon, I think would be accurate. I know some of these things got dismissed, why I do not know, but they were horrifying in their seriousness. And, all I can tell you is, Mr. Stone, I'm going to be really straight with you. This is it. This is it. The end. I love giving people chances, but in this situation, with everything that you've done and while on probation, I'm done. Okay? I want to see you succeed. I'm still on your side. I'm still pulling for you, but I will not tolerate another probation violation, period. The agent made a comment in the report that boot camp isn't taking probationers. Well, not an hour or two before sentencing today, I got an email saying they're now taking probationers. But I can't do that without violating the Killebrew. But if I see you again on a probation violation, Mr. Stone, you're going somewhere you're not going to like a whole lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I've just had it. I can't have you out there running around doing all this stuff, endangering the community. These are not just theft offenses. These are serious, significant offenses where there's real live victims, and it will not be tolerated. So 0 tolerance as far as I'm concerned while you're on probation.
Yes, ma'am.
But I am going to place you on probation for a period of 18 months on docket number 20-389FH. It'll be on, first of all, on count 3, no probation. It's just going to be, you have to pay $50 for state costs, and you're sentenced to 126 days in jail with credit for 126 days served. But on counts 1 and 2 on that docket, you are on probation for a period of 18 months, 365 days in jail with credit for 126 days served. You have to pay $130 to the Crime Victims Fund, $136 in state costs. I'm waiving oversight fees. You have to pay restitution in the amount of $9,883.96, and that is broken down as $1,809.78 to MSU FCU, $1,112.28 to Dart Bank, $413.40 to Lake Trust Credit Union, $1,386 to Gail Kane, $4,500 to Suzanne Pentecost, $587.50 to Khan Singh, and $75 to Jenny Chapman. And that is only on docket number 389FH. You also on that docket have to pay costs in the amount of $200 based on the State Court Administrative Office calculated average cost for criminal case in Ingham County. I'll get to the conditions of probation, but it'll be a concurrent 18-month term of probation on docket number 390 and 365 days in jail with credit for 126 days served. You have to pay $130 to the Crime Victims Fund, $68 in state costs, waiving oversight fees, costs to the county in the amount of $200. Now, the conditions of probation on these concurrent 18-month terms of probation are no use or possession of alcoholic beverages or controlled substances. You must comply with both drug and alcohol testing if your agent deems it necessary, and no recreational use of marijuana or use of marijuana in violation of the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. You must participate in an adult education or GED program as directed by your agent. You must complete the MRT program. You must comply with Michigan Department of Corrections curfew tether for a period of 120 days. You must not engage in any assaultive, abusive, threatening, or intimidating behavior. You may not have any contact with anyone you know to have a felony record. You must not change your residence unless you first get permission from the agent. You may not possess a weapon while you're on probation. You must contact your agent no later than the first business day following your placement on probation. You must comply with all the written and verbal orders of your agent, let the agent into your home at any time, submit to a search of your person or property without need of a warrant, report any changes to your agent within 24 hours, be in your approved residence between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. unless you're otherwise excused by the agent. You may not have any written, electronic or in-person or verbal contact with Suzanne Pentecost, Gail Kane, Jordan Morales, Jenny Chapman, or Khan Singh, either directly or through another person. You may not be within 500 feet of their residence, school, or place of employment. You must make genuine efforts to find and maintain employment, a minimum of 30 hours per week. Your probation supervision may transfer to Isabella County. And Mr. Stone, you have the right to file an application for leave to appeal your conviction and your sentence in this matter. You're entitled to an attorney at public expense to assist you in doing that. If you're making a request for one, you have to make it within 42 days of today's date. And it will explain that more on the form that we will send to you called Appellate Rights. And that concludes that matter and takes us to the probation violation. And I previously took that matter as a plea to allegations that you had failed to report police contact, were untruthful to the probation agent, et cetera, et cetera. We did the plea on that and we set this for the sentencing date, but you now have new probation violations as well. And that is on or about October 31st. Well, actually, I mean, can't we change these, Agent Gleason, to the just new convictions that represent all of these actions that you have listed here?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Okay, so the allegations that we're adding is that you were convicted of all these things that I just sentenced you on. So the larceny in a building, the financial transaction device, the larceny less than 200, and the third-degree home invasion. Any new conviction constitutes a probation violation. And do you understand what we're saying here, Mr. Stone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I have to go through all this with you again. So the maximum penalties on the probation violation now that you're looking at would be up to 4 years in prison on each of your two files that you had that you were on probation for. And on this allegation where you got new convictions on those files, you have the right to an attorney. And Mr. White, are you just representing him on those?
I am.
Yeah. You also have the right to a contested hearing where you could appear by yourself or through your attorney. You could hear the evidence presented by the agent. You could cross-examine witnesses and you could present your own evidence. And Mr. White saying that I just sentenced him on these, is he just pleading guilty to this violation?
Yes, Your Honor. You can take notice
Okay.
of his guilty pleas.
Yeah, I have to go through it all though. Mr. Stone, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Now, I told you before, and you know, you have the right to a contested hearing on a probation violation. If you plead guilty, you'll be giving up your right to a contested hearing and all the rights that go along with it. So you'll give up your right to have the allegations proven. And again, this is just the allegations that you violated probation by committing new offenses and getting convicted of new offenses. You'll be giving up your right to have the witnesses against you appear at the hearing and to be able to cross-examine them, your right to have this court order any witnesses that you might have to appear at the hearing, and also the right to testify yourself at the hearing if you wanted to. Mr. Stone, now has anyone made any promises to get you to plead guilty to this violation?
No.
Anyone used any threats or other kinds of pressure?
No, ma'am.
Are you pleading guilty because you believe you did violate probation again by being convicted of the new offenses?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then that is true that you were convicted of all of those matters that I just sentenced you on, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The court finds the plea is understandingly, voluntarily, and knowingly made. It is supported by the testimony. The plea of guilty is accepted. Mr. Stone is found guilty of probation violation. Now we'll proceed to sentencing on both the probation violations, the ones that I previously took the plea on, and now the most recent violations for new convictions. And Agent Gleason, is there a recommendation?
Thank you, Your Honor. Unfortunately, he's done pretty poorly on probation. He committed these new felonies shortly after being sentenced, and now we have several more people out there who have all been victimized by the defendant. So I believe he's not deserving of his highness status. I do not believe the jail cap applies because the violations are for new felony convictions. So I would ask, Your Honor, that we revoke probation and his YTA status on both dockets, and then he served 9 months in jail with credit for 196 days served. I would also ask, he still owes $17,000 in restitution. I don't know if this is allowed or not, but is there a way we could add a condition to his new probation requiring him to pay that amount?
I don't think I can do that.
Figured I'd try.
Yeah, I know, but he's still obligated for it, and I can find him in contempt for not complying with it. So there's still sanctions, even though I don't think I can just add it onto the new probation.
Makes sense. Thank you, Your Honor.
Sure. Okay, Mr. White.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think the recommendation that what he does do here runs concurrent. I would maintain the position that he's going to make it from here or not, and the sanction that you've given him, honestly, if you'd let him out today, he's going to make it or he's not. He's grateful that he's not going to have to go to prison over what he's done. And so I would ask just that the time be run concurrent.
Okay, then, and Mr. Stone, anything you wanted to say?
I just want to say that I am sorry for violating, and you will not have another violation out of me. I'm focusing more on my son and my relationship, getting a job and staying out of trouble.
That's great. I'm looking forward to it. I honestly am. I believe you can do it. I just need to see you do it. And you should be sorry, not to me or anyone else on the probation violations. Try being sorry to the people you victimized, because there's plenty of them out there.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to revoke your probation on docket number 19-458FH and 19-473FH. and sentence you to 9 months in jail with credit for 196 days already served. And that, of course, runs concurrently with the sentence that I've just imposed on the new offenses. And on this as well, Mr. Stone, you have the right to file an application for leave to appeal your conviction and your sentence. You're entitled to an attorney at public expense to assist you in doing that. If you're making a request for one, you have to make it within 42 days of today's date. It's all repetitive, but I have to say that, and we will again send you a form that explains that. Do you have any questions then, Mr. Stone, before we go?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good luck, and you can tell them at the jail that you're all set.
Your Honor, quickly, his YTA status.
Oh,
I didn't hear
YTA
you mention that.
revoked. Yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, thank you for reminding me, YTA revoked, yes. Okay, you can tell them at the jail you're done for your hearing, Mr. Stone.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm on my way down, Judge.
Okay,
Oh,